Well, hello and welcome to the wrap episode number 19. It is Thursday, November 24th, 2022. This is a show rounding up all things Zwift from the last week. Racing, events, tech, fashion. We are live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. This is also a podcast that you can catch anywhere that you download your podcast. You can download it by searching The Wrap and Zwift. Pretty easy way to go and find this for listening while you're riding or on your way to work or any way that you consume audio. I'm Nathan Guerra. Anna, the Zwift racer, is next to me. She is back and
Back.
went on some sort of an adventure, it sounds like. We'll get into that in just a moment. What we got coming up on the show, though, is going to be what we've been up to for the last week in the Zwift world. We're going to be talking about the format for the Grand Prix that came up this past week in the men's and the women's for tomorrow, actually. The Zwift Racing League, the two bridges that went down this past Tuesday. Camera Angle 1, something about camera. I don't know what's going on with Camera Angle 1. And then we'll be looking into this new feature we talked about since we had a guest host last week with Carissa Min, and the Calm Down Carissa feature went over fairly well, it seemed like. Our guest today is going to be two people, actually. Justin Milligan and Kevin Hammer are jumping in with us from the Dirt team to talk about all things dirt and a new dirt racing series ready to race that they have announced. Also, the garage pick, the jersey pick, fashion in the field. The fashion show is essentially becoming the major and always has been part of all of this. So that's what we got coming up. Let's get right down into it, though. Anna, you were on a plane instead of being hanging out with. What was so important that you couldn't do the rap? I don't understand. Like, isn't this what what your life revolves around?
Oh, it totally is. This was actually a trip 2 years in the making because it kept getting delayed with all of the pandemic stuff. So we finally got to do it, and it was epic. I'll give a brief summary because it was so great. But yeah, I was literally messaging Carissa from the airport, being like, "Have a great show," and then on the plane, being like, "Good luck." And then that was it. I was gone. So hence why, if you're listening to the podcast version, it was a bit late last week because I had to upload it once I got home. But yeah, we went down to Nelson, which is top of the South Island of New Zealand. I'm in the North Island. And basically, there was no car. So as soon as we arrived at the airport, our mode of transport was either running, kayaking, or cycling. And we had a car behind us that had all the bags, but I did not set foot in a vehicle for 3 days, and we circumnavigated around one of the national parks. So it was unreal. It was really great. Yeah, it was awesome. I've got to say, the 40-kilometer trail run demolished my legs. That was not something that I was prepared for, but it was heaps of fun. And the kayak, anyone who knows me knows I have a bit of a fear of kayaking. And we got in the kayaks, and I was like, the weather looked pretty rough. And I said to the guide, I was like, we're okay, right? Like, we're good. Like, this is okay. He's like, yeah. Like, real Kiwi kind of guy. Like, yeah. She'll be sweet, mate. She'll be sweet. I was like, okay. And I'm going out, and then we hit around the bluff point, 2-meter swells coming all directions. I'm just like, it was 3 and a bit hours of this, just battling through these waves.
Gosh.
And I actually got to a point where we turned around, we were coming in, and it was kind of calm. A squall came through, all the waves kicked up. I just berthed at some sandbar in the middle of the ocean and was like, I'm out. Got out of my kayak and just stood there. I was like, I'm pitching a tent here. I'll see you guys later. So yeah, it was really gnarly, but good.
What's the location, Anna, that we're talking about? Like, is there like a special location that people go to for this experience that you, sorry, I don't know if I caught it.
Abel Tasman National Park.
Gotcha. So we have something similar here in this area that people go for, like the not like there's just nothing on this island, Mackinac Island, way north. You can only go in the summer because right now it's just frozen because it's pretty far north. But interesting. I just like it's a cool experience. It seems like, for sure.
Oh, it was awesome. I'm seeing people coming into chat already saying that they've gone down to that part of the world. So yeah, it is amazing. And I've got to say, from it tying it into Zwift point of view, it's the first time I've ridden, relatively competitively on the road. So there was a big Queen of the Mountain segment, and I was going for it. And yeah, like I was 4 seconds behind Neve Fisher Black, who rides for SD Works. And I was like, wow, this is like my cycling fitness ain't too bad. Like, you kind of don't know until you go out and compare against real people, not avatars, right? And you're like, oh, okay,
Well, I
I'm
also
pretty all
saw a
right.
result recently with you, and I thought I saw Kristen Kolchinsky. And you were literally right on her heels, and I was like, "That's interesting to see, Anna." So it looks like the Zwift Fitness is also coming around. As what was that race you did? Because I saw a result that I was like, "Whoa, Anna's right there. KK's right behind." I mean, what? She's right behind KK. What's going on?
Should we get into our ZRL summary? Because I also have the inside word that you might have taken the big W
Oh, what's
this
going on?
week.
See, this is what happens. If you're involved with the rap, you get results. That's just how it works.
Mm-hmm. Come on the rap, you'll win. Or come second. That's a guarantee. That's a rap guarantee. Okay, should we get into ZRL?
We can do that. Sorry, I jumped the gun a little there. I was
No,
like,
it's
it
good.
just
I
popped
like
in my
it.
head. It popped in my head. You're talking about your results and your fitness and the reality that you're in real life cycling. And I was like, well, yeah, because look what you just did. Like, what's that all about?
Whoa, wait, before we do that, what have you been up to? I haven't seen you for
Okay,
2 weeks now, Nathan. It's
what
I've
have
missed
I
you.
been up to? Man, everything's a whirlwind, it feels like. So as far as like Zwifting things go, we talk a lot about like training. A lot of times I've noticed it's like when you ask me that question, and then we're in the summer, I'm like, well, I have these races and here's how I'm using Zwift to go toward these races. But now it's like I'm in that in between, not necessarily training for anything specifically, planning my season next season still. I haven't like really made my schedule yet. And so it's kind of like have fun on the bike, only ride it if you really, really want to, and get into the weight room. That's where things are at. Like fix everything that cycling ruins because all I do is ride a bike, which is I have to go to the weight room, and then race ZRL and then have fun on Zwift however I can. So Tour McCurry has been cool, making sure I'm getting badges and then jumping into any races in ZRL as much as I can to make my getting on the bike as fun as it can be at this time. So triple race after lifting on Sunday, I think it was, and then ZRL obviously, and yeah, the weight room. That's about it that I've been really as far as cycling goes and Zwifting goes. That's where things are at for me. Nothing major. I saw that, and this is related to Zwift in that I've been talking about creating this traveling Zwift circus. I don't know if I should be calling it that or Zwift
Are you
cons.
becoming a carny? Are you a carny now?
Isn't that what we
Jeez.
do? That's what anyone who has a channel is. They're all just carnies. Come look at my show. Well, you have lights and do a ride. And we also even have rides though. We literally have rides. So like we're not even faking it. Like but I am gonna try and get into the Grand Prix. We'll see if it happens. They opened it up to 35 men and 35 women. So we'll see if I can make that happen. And if that happens, that'll dominate the whole schedule for next year. And so that relates because if I don't do it, it's either that or a little bit more traveling for next year to get to some major marquee events. But either way, I want to make it a little bit of a Zwift, like, hey, Zwifters, we're going to go do this. Come and show up. Let's all go do this. This will be a lot of fun. You know what I mean? Sign up for these things. So that's also kind of a focus in the back of my head of like how I'm Zwifting right now and how that's going to interact with the community. So that's what I've been up to. Do you want to do ZRL or should we jump right into GP? Because that's which way are we going here?
Oh, let's go. Let's bridge to ZRL.
All right.
Let's just talk about how awesome we are to start with. So this is interesting, Nathan. So I wrote a article for the Zomunique. Always feel like I say that wrong. Zomunique, who are actually, as a heads up, coming on the show next week. So we're having a nice sort of bridge over to the Zomunique team. They're going to come on and chat to us about all that they've been up to. But yeah, I wrote an article for them after the Continental qualifiers where I basically didn't make the team and felt really relieved instead of disappointed, and did a bit of self-reflection and realized that there's a few that I was kind of trapped up in that, hey, because it's there, I'm going to do it. So like, hey, there's a 8-day stage race, I'm going to go do that on Zwift. Oh, I could qualify for New Zealand. I want to go do that, even though it's midsummer and I don't really want to be training on my indoor trainer too much. And then I think this all bled into the ZRL this week, where I spent, 3 days adventuring around the country. I love trail running, but I haven't been doing it much because I was focusing on Zwifting. And then I turned up to the race. I was like, my legs are shot. I'm just going to go have some fun. Let's go for the first sprint. And if I drop off the group, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. And probably had one of the best races I've had. So it was kind of I did the first sprint, got like second, did the second sprint, got first, third sprint, got third. Then I was just like, oh, this is like feeling nice. And then I was like, do you know what? If Kristen Kolczynski does like a early flyer, I'm just going to go with her. Oh, there I am. I'm riding with KK. Cool. Like, okay. Then we go up the last climb and I'm like, oh, I'm going to stay with this group. Oh, there I am. I'm at the front. Oh, it's a sprint off between me and Kristen. Oh, wicked. Okay, let's do this. And I was like,
That's
that was
crazy.
Great.
That's crazy, yeah. Anna. Like, talk about, okay, now let's speak to this a little bit. Overtraining and doing too much. That's been a theme around here. Like, and both of us probably have a little bit of this, like, little bit too much type 2 fun. You know what I mean? We like to feel the DOMs. We like to feel sore. We think we get a reward out of the idea that we're working hard, right? We get this reward. And so you can continue to psychologically reward yourself in a place that might not be physically actually rewarding yourself, and almost get addicted to that. I think you can get like, oh, I need that. And you can drive yourself somewhere where I've had a very similar experience, Anna, to be honest. Like, I backed off the bike a little bit, and all of a sudden I'm like throwing down, and not just like throwing down the numbers, but my whole body is feeling better and my legs are feeling better. And I'm like, oh, I wish I would have done this in season. You know what I mean? Like, what the heck was I doing to myself?
Yeah, and I think kind of getting wrapped up in, well, if I want to be really competitive at Zwift racing, I need to do all these workouts to work on my like 1 minute power and all of that. And that was great. And it obviously has improved things, but my happy place is also like out trail running for 40K and riding with some friends. And so I think I was like, do you know what? Like, if this running wrecks my cycling legs, so be it. I enjoy it, and who cares? And I think that it kind of showed it doesn't wreck my cycling legs. And so I signed up for a 50-kilometer trail ultra last night. So I'm going to go do that, I think, over the same weekend as Worlds. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, there's that too, of like changing things up a little bit. And when I was in Brazil, Gabby and I rode just nonstop up and down, but we just went and had fun. It wasn't like training. Like, we weren't focused on training, but like we went and rode. It was either 10% down or 10% up. Like, that's what you got in Brazil. And it was for like 1 to 5 minutes for each and every single one of the climbs, nonstop. There's no like, you climb mountains, but you climb them that way forever. Like, it's not like Colorado mountains where it's like this steady 20 to 30 minute grind that it's like this punch or not. And I came back after that, and I was also on, I think, a 10-pound heavier mountain bike the entire time, like a trainer. And I think that also kind of did it, where it was just out there having fun and doing some force work. But in the back of your head, you're thinking that. But yeah, that's definitely, I think, also influenced my Zwift Racing League result this past week. I thought I was done though, because I hadn't ridden a whole lot, and Sunday night I was like, my mom asked me to go lift with her. Actually, I was like, all right, we'll go lift. And so we went to the gym, and I went pretty hard. It was my second time. I get a first time Dom. So last week I had, if you go to my Instagram, you can see what happened there, but I like essentially couldn't walk up and down stairs. And then the second time I lifted, no more Doms really, but I definitely still was a little bit sore. Did 3 races immediately after, only had Monday for recovery. And I was like, man, there's going to be nothing in my legs. I thought for sure. And so I was like, oh, I'll kind of compete for the first sprint. Did okay in the first sprint. I got FTS in the second sprint. So I had fastest through segment.
Yes.
Then on top of that, I got seventh in FTS as well. Somehow, I think later on, got a few good FALs. And then the plan was like, all right, do the first 3 sprints and then start sitting in and start attacking later. Because I think everybody was getting really tired. I didn't think this was going to be as hard of a race as it was coming in. But then when I watched this with Dave when we did the broadcast, I was like, whoa, people are really tired. I could tell. So I was like, all right, we're going to start throwing attacks. So I just started throwing attacks from lap 4, 5, and 6. And we almost stuck a couple, but they got brought back. And then the setup for the sprint, I was like, we'll see how it goes. And just barely eked it out somehow. I don't even know how that even happened. But
Yay!
anyways.
Win.
Yeah, I gotta win. I gotta win. So yay, it's great. Thanks, I appreciate that, Anna. No, I'm excited. I'm actually pretty excited about it, and it's got me motivated a little bit to start doing some more YouTube stuff as well on my personal channel. So that's been a lot of fun to kind of like go back and look at it and everything. So that's what happened with the Zwift Racing League. We're both awesome. That's the we're both awesome section of this podcast. So
That's good for my mental health. We'll have that every week. Why we're awesome. There we go. But no, honestly, congratulations, because it is hard to take a win in ZRL. And Carsten came into my stream last night and he was talking about how you took the win. I think he was second or third.
He was right there. He was right there. So, and he has like been following, like, because he hangs out in my channel on Twitch a lot. And I appreciate how much he is like trying to like compete with me essentially. Like I super love it actually. He's like, I always notice like in the sprint, he's right around me. He's like, and it's exactly what I would do. Like if I know that somebody is maybe a good lead out train, like I would totally be following that. Like if Holden is in the race, I'm like, where's Holden? Where's Holden? Where's Holden? Like you know what I mean? And I am on that wheel because I am not because I can't out sprint him, but I know if I'm on his wheel, I might nip him on the line.
Yeah, I love it. It was cool. And I love it. Yeah, Carsten's a great one on the Twitch. He's always coming in. So shout out to Carsten as well. My kids were saying hi to him last night, having a good old chit chat. So that was good. Okay. Grand Prix format. Now, I listened to the podcast last week and I know that you might have to eat your words a bit because you were a little bit 50-50 on it. I'd say erring on the side of like not thinking it was going to be great. And then I watched you and Dave commentating and I almost could see your mental shift to being like, this is awesome. This is a great format. So, I mean, from your perspective, commentating and thoughts, you give your thoughts.
Yeah. I think so. I do have to eat my words 100%. I actually got an email that was like, "Do you like my form?" from one of the organizers, and it's a little inside joke because there's some back and forth about it for feedback about these formats. They are experimental, and and all that to see what's going to hit. And I was obviously like, I don't know about this. How is this going to work? But for some reason, I don't know what I was thinking because I thought it was going to be a motivation problem. I didn't know who the field was, I guess, right? Or whatever. Like I thought there was going to be and it wasn't. Like there was huge amounts of motivation. And what happened on top of that with this format is it really helped make the teams define roles and force those roles upon them because of the limitation in points. So if you don't understand the format real quickly, right now it's reverse eliminator. So if you win points, you get eliminated. So they had to figure out who's going to go for points at each section that goes to their strengths. And if you don't, you just aren't going to get any points. It absolutely forced anyone that's on a team, if they want to be of any kind of consequence to the team, to define a role, show up, and do it. And we've been talking about role-based gaming, Overwatch, Apex Legends, you've talking Dota, all of these great esports. That is why they are great esports, is that there are teams that have specific roles. I mean, it's same with any kind of sport, though. You've got baseball, there's a pitcher, outfielder, whatever. You know what I mean? Like I mean, we mentioned cricket last week. I mean, there's all
don't ask me about cricket.
Yeah, don't ask me either. I mean, I'm gonna leave that one as that still is not working out for me. But there I think that is really what's going to accelerate this whole team idea and how it can work out in a way that's entertaining to watch too, with the
Yeah,
motivation to have these high intensity make it or break it moments, and that happened
yeah.
over and over again. I think in this reverse eliminator.
There are a couple of things I really, really enjoyed about it. One was you could see a team like Team Aero actually be able to do something. So they were breaking away, they were aggressive, and you saw these teams and riders that you hadn't seen the whole season because they're like, go, you got to go. And it actually kind of, the ballsy efforts put the top teams a bit more on the back foot, I thought. It kind of, and then everyone you could almost see get a bit like, oh man, like we need to send someone off. And if people didn't have a plan, and I think we'll talk about Kenyon shortly because I found that really confusing. So that part I really loved. The second part I really loved, and Dave actually called it, and then you guys had a bit of a chat about it, was at the top of Temple Climb, so the dirt climb. I can't remember who the rider was, but there was a moment, and looking back on it, it's great for me leading into tomorrow's race, is there's actually a point where you need to go, it's better for me to not get eliminated on this and literally sit up because I'm going to get 1 point for coming sixth, or I can not get eliminated and have the potential for more points at the next sprint and the finish line. And you could almost like feel that rider crossing and going, oh, that was dumb. I shouldn't have done that. So I thought that was really interesting too, that at some point you may actually need to back off. I loved that. It was a awesome race. And I think the other thing like that was amazing was, in my mind as a spectator, because I was watching it as a spectator, obviously, it was short. So you're not sitting there for 2.5 hours. Like I don't have 2.5 hours to kind of watch and keep going and going. It was, an hour 15 or something, but with great tactics, great excitement. So perfect. That format, like nailed it. I would definitely watch that one again.
100%. Yeah. As far as all of the different formats we've seen so far, I think that one has been the best on what is trying to be done with the Zwift Grand Prix. I just want to say earlier, this is hitting my head. I said I'm trying to get into Grand Prix, not the Zwift Grand Prix, the Lifetime Grand Prix. The Lifetime Grand Prix, a touring, multi-discipline, many races that's put on by Lifetime and Mazda. So just as everybody knows, it's on in the North America. That's what I'm trying to do in real life. That's not the Zwift Grand Prix. I do not race the Zwift Grand Prix. I commentate the Zwift
I was
Grand
thinking
Prix.
When you said that, I was like, you could just get in pretty easily, Nathan. Like, just go do it. It's not that hard. But quickly on it before we'll probably pull in our guests, I guess, pretty soon, is what is Kenyon doing? Like, I love Ollie Jones. I love Lionel Villassen, but
timing. I think it was just timing, Anna. I really think it was just timing. Like the timing wasn't. So I am down with what they were doing, but they were doing it on like downhills. Where I'm like,
that's the thing.
And every time it was on downhill, I was like, they're trying something new, because we have seen some attacks working on downhills in certain very specific courses. But the course and the amount of riders and the fatigue in the legs has to be really, really specific timing. I'm wondering if the DS had seen some things that happened in weeks past and like, this is gonna work, or so. I don't know. Like I'm actually really confused by it. And I'm buddies with most of these guys, and they're be like, I know. I'm like, sorry guys, but like, just gotta call it as it is. Like, let us know what was going on there. And that just didn't seem like the way to go. Now I love it that they're being aggressive. They're some of the strongest riders in the world. I just like, we also know them as some of the smartest riders in the world. And I'm like, what happened? Like, we just wanted to get an F on the grade this week, or what's going on?
Yeah. And I can't talk because like in the Continental qualifiers, I got completely outsmarted by someone else with a burrito. So I am talking from a point of view of like, I do not make the best race decisions, but I would just say that attacking on that rooftop KOM downhill, which is like probably one of the most dangerous downhills of getting caught and passed, even if you're in the group, geez, like you're going to get smoked if you're out the front. And I can't remember if it was Ollie or Lionel, but I mean, they're riding like 7 watts a kg on the front. The crew behind's at 4, just like mowing them down. I was like, oh, if you'd like even just done that once you got to the flat, you probably would have got away. Yeah, like that. I think it was timing, but I mean, we're talking about them. So exposure for the team, maybe. So maybe that's the
Yeah,
point of
there
it,
you
right?
go. There you go.
Do some
Get the
crazy
names out
stuff
there.
and get talked about.
100%, 100%. And you know, they're always welcome to come and chat too as well. It's been a while actually since I've talked to any coalition riders with the Canyon team. But now, what's this about Camera One? Wait, what? I don't know why this is in.
Yeah.
What's happening with Camera One? I don't even know what this is about.
Okay. So maybe chat can tell me or feed me back if you've listened to the podcast. Has Camera One changed? It looks different to me. And I'm not the only one. We got onto our Discord for the racing this week, ZRL, and I was like, what? This looks different. And I guess because you're not in Camera One all the time, you might not notice. There's something different.
No, I
And
never ride Camera One. It's
No.
Camera 3 all the time.
You know, like I'm gonna get some merch done, right? That's like Camera 3 for life. But
yes, I love it.
So I have actually, total tangent, I have actually been thinking about getting like, I've been listening to the podcast around House of Dragon. They've got like Team Black and Team Green. I was like, we should definitely get some like teas made up. So I'll look into that over the Christmas holidays. Let me know if you're keen. I'm keen. I'll just wear mine with pride. But anyway, if you're riding Camera One a lot, something has changed and it looks different. It's weird. And also, if you're switching camera angles, there's kind of like a weird wraparound thing it's doing. So let me know. I don't know if I'm going crazy. My teammates said the same thing, that it's different. So yeah, hit me up. I found it shocking when I started racing. And
well,
that's
a big deal. That's a really big deal, actually. I mean, you don't just like change the way you view the entire program without knowing what the heck's going on. Like what?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal. But I would think we would see a lot more chatter about it in the entirety of the community. Is there anything in Zwift Riders or in Zwift Racers? I haven't seen anything in those places.
Well, someone's come into chat and said, yep, it's changed. My team says it's changed. I'll go trawl the forums later. But I think because it's so subtle, you're almost like, am I crazy? Like, has that changed? You know, it's that kind of a thing. So, yeah, people tell me...
Am I being trolled here? What's going on?
Yeah, something's weird. I am being trolled with the visor, though, but we'll talk about that a bit later.
I have a picture. I've got a picture. All right. Yeah, I got that. All right, last one here before we bring in our guests. Last week, it seemed to go down really well. The Calm Down Carissa. We should probably get Carissa just like for a quick little boom, like, or something. But this is, we actually have a channel within the Discord, well, my Discord at this point, that's called The Wrap. And there's a lot, that is the most popular channel by far in my Discord. I was like, what's going on here? But nonstop chatter going on there. And the idea of just having like something come up that's, that Carissa is like, hey, this is something that's a issue that we noticed, and here's what the solution might be about it, and have some fun with it. She brought up the idea of participation in women's racing and what are solutions around that. And there was like a lot of chatter around women's participation in racing and how do you deal with that. Liz Van Houweling jumped in and was like, well, I mean, she seemed to kind of think this is just a general thing. This isn't even like Zwift. Yeah. This is like all of cycling issue and different ways to try and solve that.
Yeah, and I guess maybe this is why, so I chimed into the discussion too, and I kind of, one, like in general across all sports, for the most part, there's less women participating. So you've got to take that sort of proportion applying to Zwift. I personally think Zwift is unreal for women cycling. And I think the point that I made was I coach a whole bunch of women athletes. None of them race on Zwift. They just don't want to. They want to do some workouts. They want to do group rides. They want to meet an in real life friend who maybe doesn't live in the same area as them and go do a ride with them. None of that. And I've said to them like, hey, do you guys want to do some racing? It could be quite good for this. Like, no, that's okay. So I think we need to separate here women's participation and women's racing and accept that not all women want to race, and that's okay. And so, do you need to? I'd prefer to see the numbers on how many women are actually in Zwift riding around and doing this, because I actually think those numbers would be really high, because it removes a hell of a lot of barriers to entry for women who maybe don't want to get out on the road or don't want to travel somewhere for a race or an event, So I think personally, I'm not too concerned with women's numbers in races, because I think what, say, ZRL and Flamme Rouge has done is been able to, and a whole lot of race organizers on Zwift, is concentrate races so that it doesn't dilute the women's field. So I think that's probably the biggest issue, is when we had, when I first started Zwift and it was just like a cowboy, races everywhere all the time, there were almost no women's numbers because it was so diluted. But now it's concentrated. ZRL, I mean, I've got 60 women racing in my category every week. I think it's actually not bad. I think if you're going to go into a sort of non-organized event system and just go into like, say, a 3-hour race or something that's on, there's probably not going to be any women there. Because
you gotta race the boys then. Then you gotta race the boys.
And that's fine.
At a certain category level. And that was actually what Liz said, is that she was like, they're with Zwift, because of the category levels, you can jump in with the boys. The other thing there, I would say I 100% agree that it's exemplary actually on this front as far as women's participation goes. And also the way that things are even happening with racing with women, it seems to me, on Zwift is only increasing that pie in participation. And like you said, you can rock up and there's 60 I mean, that's huge. That's a huge women's field. Yeah. And I think the only thing I would say as far as more solutions is visibility. I mean, really, it's just visibility about where and how and when you can find these races if you want to go race. Because I do have a friend that's in the Discord, Stacy, and she jumped in with the Rave team because she was looking like, well, how, where, and she's just jumping in to Zwift for the first time as far as like really wanting to race. And there just wasn't the visibility to find women's racing specifically. And that is one area where I think maybe you could have like, I don't know, they have the Zwift.com/racing. Here's some women's organizations or here's some organizations that have really that have been given visibility for how you can find something that doesn't necessarily take a whole ZRL thing, right? Because the whole ZRL thing is complicated. I just want to jump in and rock up to a race quick, right? Like that's
or even I'm part of quite a few Discord channels now, and I'm on Fearless, and there's a lot of chat and not much of it is about racing, so maybe it's just like, hey, I want to be part of a women's group. I'm actually a bit nervous about even riding with people at the moment, but I'd love to just sit here and kind of be part of the conversation and then dip my toes in where I can. And I think, absolutely 100%. You're right, Nathan. That is, if we take one like takeaway out of this, I'd say the visibility of those teams. So you have the journey of a new Zwifter. I'm in. Okay, I'd like to do something with other people. You go to Zwift.com and go, oh, there's all the women's teams and there's their contact details. Awesome.
100%. That's really, really great point there. And great solution, actually. On the calm down Carissa section, we got her to calm down, it sounds like. All right. Actually, I'm surprised she's not in chat yelling at us right now. Well, that is the front end of the show. We've got an awesome guest. What's really cool about this is the Dirt History Dad's Inside Rider Trainers. There's also Mom's Inside Riding Trainers. They are one of the longest standing teams on Zwift. It's really great to have a couple of their team managers. I'm not sure if that's the right. They were like not exactly sure what to call themselves, it seems like, when it came to the team. But we've got Kevin Harner. And we've got Justin Milligan and on the podcast from the Dirt team. It's great to have you guys. Kevin reached out to me and was like, hey, we've got this amazing Ready to Race Dirt racing series coming up. And I was like, Dirt hasn't been featured on the podcast yet. Let's go ahead and just give everybody a little bit of a lowdown of who Dirt is, as well as where they come from and what they're up to now. So welcome to the podcast, you guys. You guys want to just do a quick little intro of like where you're from and how you Zwift and maybe how many kids you have, because that's like the thing, right? Let's start with Kevin.
True. Okay, thanks for having us. I'm Kevin. I'm coming from the Lowlands, Netherlands. I think I've been Swifting now for about 2.5 years. Started on this old wheel-on dump trainer and moved to a smart trainer, I think about 2 years ago. Well, my oldest daughter was 1.5 years old back then, 2 years old. So I'm a father of two, a daughter and a boy now, and really happy to be in dirt during this period of my life.
Awesome. Justin, how about you?
Yeah, I'm Justin. Live in the UK, just south of London, in Sussex. I have two daughters. I have managed, at least, well, that was one of the good things when we were locked down in COVID. I managed to get them on Zwift really early days. So I had a 9-year-old and an 11-year-old running around Zwift with me, which was really cool, I have to say, actually. So that was one of the upsides, and actually it was just before that as well that I joined the dirt team. And like Kevin says, yeah, that shared challenge of parenting is one of the real core foundations of the dirt club, as you can probably imagine.
It's interesting. That's an interest that just popped in my head about the sharing of our struggles in cycling. Now also has this tacked on the reality of the sacrifices of being a parent. Like that goes right alongside of all this.
Exactly, and funnily enough, Nathan, I mean that's really kind of how dirt started itself, right? So Kevin and I were not there at the beginning of that, and that was Jason, Ken, and Doug, and they were just rocking up at the same time every day, and this was pretty early in the morning on the US East Coast, so they were like 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. riders, and they just were always rocking up at the same time, recognizing they were trying to fit some Zwifting in for themselves around, their jobs and being parents and having a family, and just really got to just continue to be riding with each other. And then I think it was late in 2018, got together and said, "Hey, hang on a minute, we ought to actually start something. We've got something here." They went through a whole bunch of dafter names than dads inside riding trainers. And then settled on that and really started to build the club around that concept of a bunch of people just working out that balance with family, work, and trying to have a bit of well-being for ourselves as well, needing that time for ourselves. So those three guys as well, we call them our founding fathers, and today is a good day to be talking about them, I guess. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Nathan, and to everybody else out there celebrating it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's Thanksgiving here in the U.S. But quickly, my memory, because it might be failing me here a little bit on this, but 2015 to 2018, in between there, some of these people were on Zwift though. I do remember when when Sterney jumped on, and I think you guys were a little bit related to ODZ, and then this came out of maybe a little bit with ODZ. Like there was a relationship there up front a little bit, I think, right?
You probably know better than me because I wasn't there. I didn't join Zwift until about late
maybe Chad
2019.
can let us know. I feel like there was a little, because those ODZ guys were getting up super early as well. But I think the identification of this commonality around being a parent that's trying to also Zwift is like the common bond that needs to happen there. And there's two very different realities that happen there, I think, a lot of times, is both myself and Anna can attest to, I think, as well. So it's really cool. Obviously, I think one of the largest clubs on Zwift, if not the largest club on, I think you and Insider might be competing for that, right? Like just a little.
Which metric? I like Zwift Power registered racers, because that one we're definitely the biggest on. So let's go with that as the defining metric.
Gotcha. Well, and Eric Schlange is also a dirt member. I mean, Eric Schlange is also a dirt member, so you guys are, you guys are in the same fold. There you go.
Yeah, and I think but it is genuinely, and that's that's exactly how how probably a lot of the people have got into dirt. And as I was just getting into Zwifting, really found this great ride on a Saturday, dirt badge hunting, that really ticked my boxes of, oh, that'd be fun. I'll go and do these more different, these interesting courses, and just found a really, fantastic supportive bunch of guys.
I had a bit to do. I think it was with Jason a while back, maybe 3 years ago, and I just reached out to him to say, hey, this is really awesome what you're doing. Like, how do you rally parents around you? And we were having a great sort of chat about it with regard to mums as well. And he ended up sending me this over to New Zealand, a whole envelope full of dirt stickers and dirt paraphernalia. I was like, wow, this is like an established club. This is slick, man. So, and a little handwritten note. So I can attest to you guys just being a really down-to-earth, really approachable, awesome Zwift club. So if there are any dads or mums listening, I would highly recommend Dirt. It's really, really well done. And I think we really wanted to have you on the show because you reached out about, as you can see on your little pictures there, the Dirt Racing Series. So tell us a little bit. There's two kind of events here. So start off maybe with the first one, and then we'll chat about the Ready to Race one.
Sounds good. Kev, do you want to take that?
Yeah, so Dirt Racing Series, I think we came up with this idea in the beginning of this year, and it basically took off like crazy. It's a club of 4 that we are with, and we came together at the beginning of this year, having raced for, if I speak about myself, for 1.5 years maybe. Competed in a lot of CRLs, did a lot of races with my baby monitor next to it, jumped a lot off the bike, tried various formats, FRR, can imagine how many races I did. And in every race I was, there was like, this thing is cool, this thing is cool. And I never really found the single event that was like, hey, this is it for me. This is where I want to put my energy in. This is where I want to train for. This is the event that's going to be on my calendar and that I work towards. And I think that's basically, at least from my perspective, what made me think about the Dirt Racing Series. And I gathered a bunch of boys, and we started with one message. And 6 weeks later, we basically had our first trial series, which was series 0.5. It was intended to be dirt only, but I think Coalition got involved quite quickly because of some contacts we had from ZRL, and they were really into it, really positive, energetic. And so we started with, I think it was 40 teams, 45 teams, Justin.
Yes,
and it basically took off really quick. We started season 1, we had season 2, and now we're up to season 3. And I think the most important things, or the most important thing that differs from other team racing series, is that the Dirt Racing Series is shaped by the participants. So in the beginning, we set a format of things that we liked in different formats, different series that we raced. And from our trial series on, we gathered feedback from all the riders, all the captains, all the club admins about key points in the series, processed their feedback, and basically changed everything that was needed in between the series, in between the seasons. And I think that's what we still do, and that's what we always be doing from now on.
Yeah, and I think, we loved the team racing. That was one of the key things. I know you were talking about that, Anna, beforehand, with, just how people feel about being part of a club and a team like that. And that's absolutely fundamentally been at the core of what we wanted to do. But we also wanted we really wanted to make, a series where as many people as possible could feel that they could be competitive. So that was one of the reasons for slimming the categories down and bringing in some half categories. We changed up the point structures and took the best we liked from, like Kevin said, from a whole bunch of different series that we've been racing, to try to find again ways where if you're in the middle of the pack, you still felt like there was something worth fighting for, right? You can make a difference to your team score. And also actually, because we're so unaware of the challenges that can stop you from racing at the last minute, bring a bit of flexibility into the teams as well. So you can have all 8 people out there racing, or you can only have 4, but your best 4 results are going to count, and so therefore everybody can race, but there's not that pressure if they can't, you know.
Yeah.
So we were really trying to just take all these different things that we've enjoyed ourselves and make them our own, and really, yeah, get this team racing thing, you know, just continuing to evolve, because yeah, it's where we've had the most fun. We love riding and racing together. Kev's too strong for me now, you know, but certainly there's a whole bunch of our different groups that, you know, just love doing that racing together, and we wanted to build that platform out. And I got to say, I agree with Kevin entirely that what's been amazing has been on our own Discord server as well, the way the captains have engaged with us. We feel like actually we've built a really fantastic community, you know, lots of good positive feedback, constructive feedback, ideas, and in a really, really nice environment, people supporting each other as well. And you know, that's hard to create in the social world these days, but it very much has been, and that's massive testimony to the team captains, and we've got, and that, I think, you know, our biggest shout out would go to those team captains, the people who say, yeah, I'll go and register, I'll work out what the rules are, I'll bring everybody together to go and race. You know, those team captains, you know, without them, we wouldn't have any racing series worth talking about. And as a racer on the other side of it, you know, we should all be thankful to the people who are just up for putting their hands up to do that. And they have been an absolutely brilliant community within the dirt racing series, you know, Discord channel and stuff.
So you're into Series 3, is that correct? Is that the one that's starting on December 20th, or are you already into a series right now?
No, it will start in December, yeah.
Gotcha. So I have the details here. I'm just going to read those out. Dirt Racing Series, December 20th through the 3rd of January. 5 brutal stages, individual time trial, team time trial, races split category, team racing, individual and team leaderboards, balance points allocation. You can actually register over at dirtracing.com. I actually am on the website right now. This is a well put together website, actually. Really, really, really like this. You can see if you're watching. I know that a lot of you do listen on the podcast to get an idea of what we're talking about here. You can head to dirtracing.com. But I mean, at the top, the tabs, each one of the stages there, you have some teams. It looks like you have to log in to do the team views. It looks like, but this is really enjoying this. I'm gonna have to go over here and make a profile. Go ahead, Anna.
I've got to ask, sorry, this is I've just been dipping my toes in website design. What theme is that? Can you tell me that?
We can give you some insider info.
Show me some insider info, because I thought the exact same thing, Nathan. I went through that and was like, this is slick. Like, I've been building a website now for like 3 months, and it is hard. And then I see in there you've got logins and stuff. Man, that is, whoever's been building that, good job, because that's part of the thing too, is when you want to enter a race that way. Kevin, good job, Kevin, because when you want to enter a race as well, you want to keep it as, you want no barriers. You know, you don't want someone to log in and go, oh, this is hard, I can't be bothered. And that looks slick. So good job. You've done an awesome work there. And
honestly, from our side, actually, you know, we haven't got that right yet, Anna. Honestly, you know, we haven't, right, behind the scenes, and the hardest bit has been the results processing. When you're trying to group results, link them to teams, we create individual boards. So we have, you know, polka dot jerseys, green jerseys, you know, as well as individual yellow jerseys. And until you actually start doing it, you cannot believe the number of things that will confuse the system, right? And we have gone through lots of different ways of trying to do it. We've got databases running behind the scenes. I mean, it's been a heck of a journey on that regard. And big shout out to Doug and Martin, who've done a huge amount of work as well, you know, in supporting as part of the other 2 race organizers, and the amount of coding and results processing that poor Doug has had to do. I mean, it really is a bunch of work. And it is the thing, though, that actually you have to do in order to make it a team racing series. So you just suck it up, right? We talked about the joy being the community we've got with our captains and the rest of the racers. The pain that comes with it is the results processing behind the scenes. And honestly, we know we want that to be super slick and no barriers and nice and easy. We think we're going to take a step towards that in season 3, being better and faster. But it's a lot. It is hard, guys. I promise you. It's really hard to get right and to get slick. Particularly when you're fitting it around your own training and parenting and jobs and all of that stuff. But at least it looks pretty, right?
It looks pretty, so that's good. And I was going to say, and then you have racers like Nathan and I throwing out, do you know what? A race should just do this with their points. Just do it. Can't be that hard. And the race organizers will be like, don't say that, please.
No, but you know what? We love it, and really, we do. We love those ideas and talking about it. And it's kind of getting that balance to say, look, everybody, give us your ideas. We want to talk about it. We want to engage in it, but also bear with us and give us a little bit of time to try some things, see how it actually pans out. And then if it pans out rubbish, listen, we'll be the first to go, whoa, sorry, we got that so wrong. How can we do it better next time? And actually, we have had some really nice positive feedback that people have enjoyed that interaction with us as the race organisers as well. So we try really hard to keep that going as well, because there really is so much more we can do, and there are some really exciting ideas and things that are coming around in the racing. I think one of the fun things in this upcoming series is going to be the last day, because the last day has a back-to-back TTT race, followed shortly then by a punchy points race right on the back of it. So we've done a back-to-back before, but never a TTT followed by a punchy race. So it'd be interesting to see how people approach the strategy of that, what they're going to keep in the bank, or they just go all out early and all out late. I mean, I think there'll be some fun conversations on the Discord going on about.
That's a balancing game. So in the back of my head, I'm thinking as an organizer and as a racer, because that's a balancing game as a racer, but it's also a balancing game as an organizer. I think a lot of people, don't maybe understand or appreciate how much thought has to go into making sure when you do something like that, how are you allocating how people win? You know what I mean? Like, well, how much weight are we putting on the TTT and how much weight are we putting on the points allocations and all that? I mean, that's a really great tight wire to walk to get it right, so people feel satisfied with what they're approaching in their efforts and how they're going to tactically do it.
And I could bore you to death for hours with spreadsheets, Nathan, about all the things we looked at. And what if you have this position, 4 riders in 1st, 5th, 80th and 81st versus 10th, 12th, 40th and 41st, trying to just get how all of these things feel, so that at the end of it, we go, right, the best racer won the race, the best team won the team competition, whilst
and I think
still being balanced and competitive.
Yeah. And I think, like you said, a lot of it you learn when it unfolds. I organized a race for Australian cycling earlier in our winter. And I only realized that I'd got the FTS points way overweighted during the race when I am producing it and watching the comments on screen of someone going, this point structure is shit. And I was like, I know. Like, that was not right on a multi-lap course to be doing that. I just did not think about that. And so there you go. You learn, never do that again. So I think as long as you're open to that, you don't put a stake in the ground and go, no, I was right. That was going to be awesome. You've got to listen to the races, even though it makes you pull your hair out sometimes.
I want to jump into the ethos of dirt and what you guys are all about, the culture of it, and transition to this Ready to Race, because you're probably bringing in a lot of, parent people who are, getting into Zwift, and I don't really race though, but I am a parent, and it looks like you guys are all having a lot of fun, and also something to offer to the community, because we were just talking about this, and this is something that really seems to be coming to the forefront a lot right now in the Zwift community. You just have the launch of the Z Racing. You have the launch of the Zwift.com/racing website. It's obviously a goal that there's all these new Zwifters or cyclists even jumping on the platform. They notice this racing thing, and then, how do I even do this? And it looks like as an organization, you guys are like, yeah, we want to get more people ready to race. So so there's the dirt racing series, but there's something else that you're doing that's called Ready to Race. Kevin, what is that all about?
Yeah, we're just about to launch our new format. It's called Get Ready to Race. And it basically touches all the people who aren't racing yet on Zwift. We did some surveys also in cooperation with other Zwift clubs with the question, if you haven't raced Zwift before, why is it? And over 75% of the people said, well, it's because I think I'm too slow. And I get the answer, but it's basically a bit weird because the categories in Zwift go back to 0.0 watts per kilo. So you can in fact never be too slow to race because there's always someone who is the same level as you are. The only thing is getting into Zwift racing, and especially into team racing, is a hell of a lot of work. You got the Zwift power, you got all the articles you need to read. You basically have to do an FTP test. You have to have 3 races in. You need to know your Discord stuff. So if you're not really tech savvy, it's quite a big step to go into team racing. Maybe not as much individual racing, but still. And what we are trying to achieve with Get Ready to Race is basically create an open event for everyone, which contains 2 parts. So the first part will be working on the racing skills together with a coach or 2 coaches. And the second half of the event will be the racing part, in the same environment as you worked with in the first half, also with the coach in the field. And it gets you ready for basically entering a real Zwift race. So by participating in 2, 3, 4 of those Get Ready to Race events, you will get your Zwift Power numbers in, you will get your Zwift Power category in, and it will basically get you ready with the skills that you need for real Zwift racing.
Question, Justin, on that front, how is that going to function? So you get a coach, and then, I mean, what I've noticed, and I'm going to lead this question a little bit, but the coach then is gonna hey, we have to talk on Discord, and that forces the issue. Hey, I'm going to be next to you in the pens. That forces the issue. It kind of forces, but it forces it through a way in which you are interacting with someone. Is that kind of what's going to happen? How does that look with the coaching? I'm wondering.
That's a great question. I'll tell you when we've done it. But I mean, what we, there's a heart and a desire to want to do this. We think we'll set it up as a group ride. Okay, we don't think there's going to be dozens and dozens coming. Okay, maybe we'll be wrong and we'll need lots of little sessions running, but that would be great. Okay, but if we set up as a group ride with a beacon, then we can roll out together nice and slow. Be chatting to people about just through the companion app chat about this is what we'll do next. We'll give people the option to be able to join on Discord and introduce them to that if they want to. But we'll also make sure that if they just want to stay in the companion app, listen to a few things, hear how it might go, then we'll run it through that. We'll maybe do plan to do some segments. Hey, listen, we'll do a little bit of a push and attack on this segment together and then come back together again. And then for the second half of the race, we thought it would be nice to, but actually, because we can use obviously the zappy fence to keep everybody nice and tight together and regrouping, but then we can also turn it in actually, therefore they can have a nice, proper, a nice rolling start to the race as well, and then have the last 10 minutes or 15 minutes maximum of that group ride as a bit of a race to the line. And we think we'll do it out of one pen to start off with, and then if we have multiple categories joining, we can separate the results in Zwift Power based on what their category was when they started. So hopefully as well, if we have some C's in with B's, with D's, and maybe even a B, we'll be able to separate the results out at the end, and those B's who are strong will feel like, oh great, I can go and do this, and then we'll keep working with C's and D's and anybody really who wants to do it. And I've got to say, actually, we don't want this just to be a recruitment drive for dirt. This is, Team Dirt Racing wanting to just bring more people into racing generically. And in LinkedIn, with what you guys were talking about, in terms of, at least increasing the visibility maybe of racing to women. Kevin and I were talking and saying we'd love to partner with maybe some of the different, female racing teams who maybe would come co-ride lead with us, and then increase the exposure and be getting a whole bunch of different people together. And, if that means that we're helping to recruit, for Fearless or Rave or any of the other clubs, Coalition, we're really up for that with this. We would love it to be a cross-community thing, that just gets more people racing, or at least gives them the exposure to it so they can work out, hey, do I enjoy doing this? Rather than just kind of being a bit fearful and not dipping their toes in the water and giving it a go. And if it isn't for them, cool. But I think if we increase the visibility, I do think we'll find a bunch of people who will want to stay. What I mean, particularly for the female racer piece, Hannah, what do you think?
Yeah, I just I think this is great. There's something that's kind of sparking in my head and I think that it's a huge opportunity. It harks back to what we talked about earlier with female participation, but even what you're saying now, just with getting people ready to race. The part that is separating this out for me is you're not leaving them alone to be exposed to a race. So it's that guiding and I think when I first went on my first Zwift group ride and I got dropped, but there was a lady who came back to pick me back up again. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And this structured way to do it. Hats off to you. That is awesome. I think that's such a great idea, is having the person there. And I've always thought there'd be a great opportunity for someone who, wants to take their racing to the next level, or even just wants to dip a toe in a ZRL team. And you say, I will be with you for that race. So I'll talk to you. I'll talk you through what's happening. I'll say, you've got this aero power up. I'll say to you during the race, this is probably the best time to drop it. This is what it does. That guided system would be awesome. Like a bunch of race Yodas out there who can just help these people have a great experience. Awesome. I think this was great. This is
you got a lot of people raising their hand to be race Yodas.
I want to be
one. That would be great. And look, honestly, whenever if anybody's ever mentored anybody through anything, whether it be work or whatever it is, it feels good, right? You get to give back because you're helping bring this to somebody else. Somebody else is getting a lot out of it. So it just felt like a really cool thing that, we'd have a crack at. I don't know whether it'll work, as we said up front, but we're game for giving stuff a go and, and listening to feedback and doing more of the good stuff and stop doing less of the crap stuff.
Yeah. Well, the basic idea is to make the entry level really low. You just go to the companion app, write the event, and that's it. You will get the in-event chat so that you know what to do, what skills we're working on, when the race will start. That's basically it. But if you want to dip your toe even more into it, you can join the Discord. You can visit our website, which will contain all the information you need to know about getting started to race on Zwift. What's FTP? How do you sign up for Zwift Power? What do you need for racing? How do you sign up for
Kevin,
Discord? Stuff like
real
that.
Quick, Kevin, so dirtracingseries.com, is there a second website? Is which?
Yeah, there will be.
Okay.
Teamdirt.racing.
Teamdirt.racing. Gotcha. We do have to move along just real quickly here, you guys. Fashion show still in 15 past the hour. I think Anna's got a quick cutoff here, everyone. So, guys, we really
drop-offs. You'd appreciate
school
that.
drop-off. Come on. This is the dirt. You guys
we don't
are here.
We won't get in that way.
Perfect reasons around our guest today to say, hey, you guys, we really appreciate everything that you're up to. This seems really awesome. Everybody, Dirt Racing Series, it looks like that is kicking off December 20th. Head over to dirtracingseries.com for that. Then there's going to be this Ready to Race coming. They're doing tons of work. I'm on the lookout for race Yodas. This is a great term. I'm absolutely loving. I'm going to create a little race Yoda emote for my Twitch channel now. So that's definitely going to be happening. So, guys, thanks so much for jumping in.
For a coach, then.
We really appreciate you guys so much, and I hope everybody jumps in. I'm going to have to maybe do some racing over Christmas. It sounds like. So
good, man. We'd love to see you, Nathan. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, cheers, everybody. Thanks. I really appreciate you guys.
Thanks,
guys. Well, that's so awesome, Anna. Love what they're up to. I was, to be honest, pleasantly surprised there. I love dirt, but the amount of organization is what I was like, whoa, wow. But I guess
doing surveys,
knowing Jason Sterney early on, and then and how the merch started right away, and that guy. That guy does a good job with his organizational skills for sure, and the people he brings on, it's so good. So
Yeah.
good.
He knows his stuff. I mean, I think like, when you finish a conversation and you go, bing, like light bulb, like there's ideas there I mean, I've always thought like, right, you're a coach. There's such a gap in Zwift specific race coaching and guidance. It's always been kind of in the back of my mind, like, how do you help someone? Like, I had a coach ages ago, Bjorn Ossenbrink, actually, who came onto a couple of my Zwift races, and he would guide me through kind of what I was doing during the race. It was so helpful early on. So yeah, what they're doing with Ready to Race from a group point of view, it's something to think about, right? Is how do you help people make this journey as smooth as possible, enjoyable, with low barriers?
I did this the other day. I actually did this the other day with my friend Stacy. I was like, well, get in Discord and let's go do one of these McCurry Islands. And we did it. And I was like, walked her through and all this. And like, next she's like, that was really, really helpful. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So yeah, definitely.
There we go.
Definitely something. Well, okay, here we go. This is the next section of the podcast. We're going to jump right into it because we only have a few minutes here. But the garage pick, and there's a lot of bikes here. I was like, what are we even looking at? And then I was like, it has to be that
one.
Pink thing on the left-hand side of the screen. If you're listening, I'll do like an explanation. I don't know. It looks like it's something kind of out of Star Wars, but it's a TT bike. I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this was on a TTT I was doing. I'm one of the riders there, I think, on the felt. This is a hot pink time trial bike. I can't even say what that is. It's like, I don't even think it's just a whole bunch of letters all together. I'll put it up on my Instagram later. Is that a word?
That's just a bunch of words. That's just a bunch of letters put together, you said, Anna.
Okay. So I guess that's the definition of a word, right?
Oh my gosh. Well, kind of. I mean, I guess they have to like mean something and be like, pronounceable. You have to be able to, what's that word? I forgot what the word is for, anyways. Now we're going into all kinds of semantics. Okay. But this is a garage pick. What are you thinking about this thing?
Okay, I like it and I wanted it. I cannot find this anywhere. I can't buy it. It's not in my garage.
Of course, some guy from TFC has it. This is a calm down moment.
I know.
This is a calm down moment. Carissa, what is this mess that TFC has somehow? And let us know. Where do we get this bike? I absolutely love it that you find these things that we have to ask the community, and you always find somebody in the community that's like, oh yeah, this is duh, you guys, do you even Zwift? It's like, well, so this is a great
so
find.
tell me what this is. Someone's saying Diamondback.
Oh, it says Diamondback. It says Diamondback. No, it is. It's just cut off. It is the Diamondback. It's cut off, Anna. It's a graphic issue.
That word is not diamond.
Maybe it isn't. Yeah, it is. That is diamond. It is diamond. That is diamond. If you fill in the top lines, that's DIA. That's not H.
Oh, they've cut off the tops of the letters. Okay. Well, I still couldn't find it in my garage, so I'll go back and have a look now. The Diamondback. That would be correct then. It's cut it off. So
look what we did during the broadcast here. We found a feature, not a bug. It is a feature, not a bug. It's letters just thrown together. Oh my God.
It's just some
Thank
letters.
you so much
I'm gonna go
to
buy
Ryan
that
Devlin.
Diamondback.
Ryan Devlin in chat, coming in and letting us know that it was wow, we didn't catch that one. I knew I recognized this bike, but I just don't ride TT bikes in game, like hardly ever. So it was like, and if I do, I ride whatever the fastest one is. I just kind of know what anyways. All right, next up, the Vox. We got to go. Here we go. Vox. What's happening here? This is your jersey pick.
Jersey pick, yes. Vox Women, I think this was the 2021. I just want to do a shout out. We've talked a lot about women's participation. They run an awesome series where you go out and do kind of these group rides. Usually they have a female professional cyclist come join you, so it's amazing. And I've always really liked their kit. So this one's cool. It's Vox woman, bit of mashup of blue hair, all these different lines on the back. I think it looks pretty slick. I really enjoy the rides as well. So a bit of a shout out to them. And just on that too, the article I wrote last year on the top jerseys on Zwift, they've asked me to write it again. So if anyone wants to give me a case for their jersey as to why it should go on there, let me know. So I'll be writing that over the next few days.
This is a big deal, everybody. You better get that in there because this is going out. What the top jerseys are, opinions, let us know them. Head on over to socials and tag us up. We want to know. I definitely want to know what Anna's going to pick for those. All right, and then the fashion in the field, the Tron plus the Rafa Festive 500 kit. I don't. Is that the one in the back there? The purple,
that purple one.
The purple with the purple Tron. Is that what we're looking at?
Yeah, shout out to Katie Loca who told me that in the chat as I was hovering around this rider, creepily watching them for quite a while. This was amazing. I really
could know like they were being watched and how closely they were being watched. I totally freaked out.
I just he's got the Race Mercury or the Mercury Group Ride socks on, but he's paired it like the white gloves, white shoes, perfect. He's got the socks matching the sunglasses. He's got the little backwards visor, which also matches the Rafa kit, paired up with that pink Tron. It just looked really cool. Out of everyone in that whole group, stood out really nicely. And I think I might add that Rafa Festive 500 kit to one of the top jerseys because looks good. That one looks awesome. I really, really like it.
So wait, not this though. You're not a big fan of this for some weird reason. This seems like amazing. I thought this was your fashion in the field. Look at all those amazing visors. I mean, this is awesome.
It's honestly like worst nightmare as I do these Mercury group rides and everybody is forced into wearing a visor. I can't even change it. I go into the garage to change. It won't change. And I spend the whole ride looking around. And Karsten or whoever was on my Twitch last night can attest. My sons were watching and I hovered the camera around. What do you guys think of this hat? Yuck. I was like, thank you. Yep, my sons agree with me. Yuck. On the bike ride. Not looking good.
Is that influence from a parent or is that objective, I wonder?
No, absolutely not.
Absolutely objective.
Totally objective.
Yeah, absolutely objective.
Absolutely.
I got a message last night and this came through this image and the next words were, the horror! The horror! Like this is some kind of horror film. The moment you jump into the thing, like, oh my gosh, it's good.
It is. God, visceral reaction. It was terrible.
All right, well, that's going to be it for us. All of the segments. What's coming up this weekend? Well, the Zwift Grand Prix is happening tomorrow for the women's side of things. You can watch that. Myself and Dave Toll will be on the reverse elimination commentary. Anna, next week on the show, we have the Z Communique.
Z
Zaminique. I think it's Communique.
I'm going to have to ask them how they say it.
Yeah, Zaminique.
Okay.
Z Communique. I'll have to, maybe I'm not saying it correctly at all. Well, anyways. I think I'm going to do the tiny races this weekend. I think I'm going to do Kiss 100. I'm eating probably a lot of food today. Something about Thanksgiving is happening.
Happy Thanksgiving. Nice. Love it. Celebration to everyone out in, is it Canada as well? It's just North America, like United States of America, right? I think Canada has a Thanksgiving, but maybe a different day.
I think it's on a different day. Yeah, their Thanksgiving's on a different day. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Okay. Well, happy Thanksgiving to all our American listeners. I hope you guys have a great holiday. I know it's a big one for you. Is it bigger than Christmas?
No. Christmas is definitely the biggest. Christmas, Easter, and then I'd put like New Year's and 4th of July like right next to those, I would say. And then Thanksgiving's right around the 4th of July. Yeah, Thanksgiving is pretty high up there. So like it's in that second tier. It's a second tier holiday.
Second tier? Okay. I remember celebrating a Thanksgiving when I was living in Colorado and I ate a lot of turkey and I didn't realize that it had like a sleepy effect.
Oh my god!
And I
just pass out in football. Football on the screen. Like as a child, all I remember is like football and uncles and people just like kind of almost asleep on couches.
Yeah.
And the kids are just
I
like,
was in a
they
food
just send the
coma.
kids out to like the last maybe go at like maybe there's some green because running around a little bit still before the snow really kicks off.
Oh, yeah. So I just remember a food coma for about 3 or 4 hours. So it seems like a great holiday. So you enjoy that. You might need those tiny races will be interesting to tune into your stream. There might be a bit of repeat from the Thanksgiving meal coming up during those ones.
I'll just gonna be super fueled. What? So you're obviously racing this week, tomorrow, and then what's happening this weekend?
Yes.
Next week? Yep.
Husband's 40th. We got family over from Australia, so there'll be a good old family weekend coming up. I've signed up for that 50K ultra trail running race. I'll probably try and get out into some trail, into my happy place. And yeah, I think that's probably about it for the weekend. Get on, probably do some Zwift stuff, but also finding a bit of my love for the outdoors again, which will be great. And I do have the Everesting coming up in a very short amount of time.
When
About
are you
three
doing
and a
that?
half weeks or
Oh
so.
my goodness.
Yeah,
That's
in
crazy.
between Christmas and New Year. So that'll be a fun one.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. We have been live on Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. This is a podcast, and it will be uploaded shortly, so you can go back and download this as audio anywhere that you do pick up your podcast. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment on anywhere that you have been watching this live or in a VOD format, as it does help the channel a ton. We'll see you next week for episode number 20. As always, everybody, from me and Anna, right on.